And welcome back to City Chats. I'm Joyce Dooley, Senior Research Analyst at Zpryme. I'm incredibly excited about our conversation today. We're going to be talking about the city of Orlando as a future-ready city. So joining us for the kickoff is Mike Hess, the Director of Future Ready City in Orlando, Florida. How are you doing today, Mike?
I am doing all right. How are you?
I am doing really well, thank you. So, it's no secret that cities really need to be prepared for what's ahead. With the mix of being, clairvoyant and hopeful and cautious, it can be really complicated to appropriately plan things out. And it can be hard to kind of balance all the things that are going on. But, roadmaps can be incredibly helpful in ironing out the details and making good strategic decisions moving forward. So we're going to dive into what that looks like and how your roadmap is paving the way for smart city successes. But before we do all of that, I would absolutely love it if we could just hear a little bit about what makes you pursue the type of work that you do for the city of Orlando.
Yeah, so my background is in engineering. I'm an engineer by training, and I've spent the several decades in that space and really enjoy design work, enjoy thinking about technology and trying to use that to improve people's lives. So really in my role at the city, I get to do exactly that. So it really fits what I like to do, and listening to our city departments, listening to our residents, and trying to think about new ways to design things and leverage technology to help solve issues that they have.
That's really awesome. It's so cool that, you have such a technical background and you can bring that to the table. I think that some of these concepts can be really challenging because they can be very abstract and hard to figure out how to apply in a concrete manner. And it seems like there's some really nice overlap between your background and what you're currently doing now, which I think is really exciting. So, what does it actually mean for a city to be future ready?
Yeah, I think to us, there's sort of two parts to that. Mm-hmm. One is, technology is just changing rapidly. It's, moving very quickly. And so we really want to try to get out in front of that. We're never going to be perfect and stay out in front of everything, but it's really just trying to think about what technologies are coming, looking at what's going on in the technology space and just try to prepare the city for that, avoid getting disrupted. Like Uber is an example that cities struggled with. All of a sudden you had cars stopping all over the place. So can we start to think about what other technologies maybe come in and try to get out in front of them? But more importantly, I think it's talking with our residents and our staff and our regional partners and really understanding what do they want the city to look like in the future? What opportunities are out there to, Orlando's a fantastic place, but, are there things they want us to work on to make it an even better place? So it's really kind of trying to imagine what our residents and other stakeholders want the city to be in the future.
Excellent, thank you. And so as part of that, you guys have prepared this roadmap. How's it going so far? And can you give us some more details about it?
Yeah, it has gone really well so far. Our roadmap was actually adopted, I believe it was May of last year by our city council. So it's adopted. So we're actually in the implementation stage right now for all of the short-term strategies that are in our plan. And there's about a dozen of them. So we've kind of rapidly moved into implementing some of the projects in our plan. We didn't want a plan that just kind of sits on the shelf and collects dust. And we've also, based on some of the input we received on our Future Ready plan, have moved into some additional planning efforts. We heard a lot from our residents during our Future Ready engagement about resilience. And so we've pivoted into also working on a resilience plan. We've also pivoted into focusing on advanced air mobility because we have one of the electric flying car companies wants to open one of the first vertiports in Orlando. And so we kind of continued our planning effort to be better prepared for that specific technology.
That's really cool. So, what are some of the types of partnerships that are required to make something like this happen? And, do you have some best practices for people out there that are trying to do similar initiatives?
Yeah, I mean, it's really all of our partners. I mean, we have a pretty good culture of collaboration here in the city of Orlando. So really, we try to work with as many residents as we can in public workshops. We try to work with all of our regional partners like the county and the bus service, and then our staff. And I guess I think our sort of strategy on that community engagement and our future ready efforts has been, we sort of start internally and we look internally with our staff and try to understand what they're doing already, what things they think we could improve on. And then as we start to get a better internal understanding of what's going on, then we start to engage some of our regional partners and experts and sort of present to them, hey, here's what we're thinking at the city, but as our regional partner, what do you think? And then we like to, really go out and meet with our residents who are, out there who live in the city and have that lived experience to say, hey, here's what we're doing internally. Here's what some of our regional partners think. But really, we need to hear from you about, sort of where we need to go, where we may need to focus from a technology perspective. So that's really been our strategy and our future ready roadmap.
No, that sounds really effective. I mean, it's nice to have all legs of the stool, I guess, in place, and to be able to get that citizen engagement is invaluable and will help, really, because, it's one thing to have ideas about what you think needs to happen, and it's entirely different to get, the real people's perspective on what needs to be done and to balance the two. So congratulations on, having a strategy that seems to really fit that model. What are some of the unique challenges that maybe you guys have uncovered as you've moved through this process that maybe you weren't expecting or that surprised you?
Yeah, I don't know that we really had anything surprising because we went into this process with sort of a blank slate. I mean, we had heard a lot about smart cities and had a lot of vendors approaching us, but when we started this roadmap, we really wanted to take a step back and just kind of start from square one. So we really focused on that stakeholder engagement with our staff, with our residents, with our partners, and didn't really go into it with a lot of expectations. So it was sort of, so I mean, I think we were surprised on different things, but really we started with such an open mind that it wasn't, I guess, as surprising in that way.
That's fair. So were there any like foreseen challenges then that, you guys kind of knew was coming up? Like this could be, issues with like policies or internal processes or, anything that can help sort of give other cities that are trying to adopt this approach, a little bit of a heads up, like, hey, be on the lookout for this because this will come up and bite you.
Yeah, I don't think we had anything like that. I mean, we just had to really listen very carefully to what people were saying, and we were really sort of focused on understanding some of the core issues and kind of uncovering new things. But so I would just really say focus on that community engagement and really, don't focus on talking as much, but focus on listening and some things will probably surprise you, but I think if you go into it with an open mind, it's we were expecting to hear new things, I guess.
Oh, that's good. I mean, if you're expecting to hear new things and you have a kind of a blank slate or an open mind, there's the less of a chance of disruption, I think, to occur in the planning process. So that's a really great best practice, I think, to implement moving forward. So thank you for that. Yeah. And I have one final question for you, which I think is probably an exciting one in the sense of, what's next on the horizon for the city of Orlando?
Well, as I said, we are now in the implementation phase on our future ready plan, and we've got a dozen or so projects that we're moving forward on. All of them are exciting in different ways. I mean, I could maybe touch on a couple of them. I think the digital divide and making sure that all of our residents who want it have access to the internet and technology has become a huge commitment by the city as a part of our future ready plans. And we're at this interesting point in time where we have a lot of federal funding to be able to make a big difference in that space. So we were in the middle of doing some workshops with our residents and trying to connect with our residents who do not have internet, and sending them mailers so that, you know, we can connect and talk with them, and really design some solutions to connect, you know, thousands and thousands of people who aren't connected right now. So I think that's huge, and our mayor and our city council have kind of committed to that being a big part of our you know, leveraging our federal funding that's out there. I think in the resilience space, we, you know, we have this push for resilience hubs, and providing resources to our residents that need it most during, you know, things like hurricanes. So we're actually in the process of redesigning some of our existing community centers so that they can be more resilient facilities and continue to provide services to our residents when they need it most. And then, you know, I mentioned that advanced air mobility, the electric flying cars. I mean, nothing's kind of cooler than that. So just be in these discussions about, like, what is that going to mean to the city? Because we don't want these things like all of a sudden landing all over the place. That would be a disaster. So
Right.
you know, we're getting into the minutia of what does that mean for our zoning ordinances and planning department. But it's still sort of exciting to be wrapping our minds around preparing for that, you know, and whether that's 5 years from now or 10 years from now or never, we, you know, we want to kind of prepare as if it could happen.
No, I think that's a really solid move, because, you know, it seems to be a thing that is occurring, right? Whether or not it ends up getting widespread adoption is different than whether or not it actually happens. And it's within the realm of possibility. So you do need to plan for it. And it's cool that, you know, you guys get to be a testing ground of sorts for how to do this from a municipal perspective, as well as, you know, from an innovation hub perspective. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Mike. It was really great chatting with you. Looking forward to part 2 of our series, where we get to speak with Ashley Van Stone. So if those of you that are watching, be sure to tune into that one coming up in the next couple of weeks. And with that, I hope everybody has a really great day.